Just got done making a Louis Vuitton fragrance video, and I was looking at my shelf of unboxing fragrances. Quite a few blind buys this month, and 2025 includes a lot of those because Dior just came out with something, Gucci just came out. By the way, the Gucci is really good, and although it is what it is, I love this stuff. So these are Middle Eastern fragrance blind buys that I just purchased recently, and all of which I want to share with you. The ones I like, dislike, and everything in between. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll put this aside for now and get started. Imagination has really grown on me to be like literally the #1 Louis Vuitton fragrance series. All right, so starting things off with Middle Eastern fragrances from Grandeur. I first got my nose on this one in 2024 when I was at the Beauty World convention, and these are, as you guys can see, they look kind of kiddie, but the fragrance itself still smells really good. So I don't know what their target audience is. I think it actually might be for children, but don't let that stop you because this is probably one of my favorite ones out of the whole Tubbees collection. So the one I did not forget and fell in love with was Cookies and Cream because I am the King Cookie Monster. I love cookies, you guys. Homemade cookies is nothing better than homemade cookies. By the way, pro tip, when you're browning the butter or when you're melting the butter, allow it to brown a little bit. Put it on low to medium heat and let it really brown. The molasses, it gets a lot richer in the butter. The fatty nuances get a bit richer, becomes more ambery, yeah, it's really good. And I love cookies. So Cookies and Cream smells quite literally like cookies and cream. The actual bottle size itself is a 1.7, but these are less than 20 bucks. I think they're going for like $14. As always, check the links down in the description and make sure to check out these websites where you can use my code and save some cash. So here are all the codes: Triple Traders, Oud Store, all that good stuff. And some of them are even selling some designers now and probably planning on doing even more. Also, my fragrances, AROMATIX, are now available. The red, which is Carnal Desire, and probably the sexiest tobacco and the highest quality at the price point. Check out jomashop.com. You can order it and they will ship out the same freaking week. So back to Tubbees collection. Concentration for this is an eau de parfum, and it quite literally smells like cookies and cream, you guys. Like, I get the brown sugar texture. I get something that's a bit chocolatey, but definitely going more so in towards the, flour, dough, and that sugar vibe more than anything. A little bit buttery, and I believe even in the notes there's some butter. Just because it's interesting, I'm not like a person who's big on reading notes because more often than not, they're not even giving you the notes, they're giving you accords, etc. Because as always, a magician never reveals their secrets, and vice versa. So more than 80% of the time being in the industry, the notes are just what they want you to perceive or smell. Oftentimes there is some reality and truths to a lot of the notes, but often and more often not. So for $16, what you end up getting is this sugary top notes, a warm, inviting aroma of butter, sugar, cookies dipped in milk. And that's quite literally what it smells like, is cookies and milk. Just cleaned the table for a quick hot second, and as you guys can see, the Tubbees collection. So my rating for Cookies and Cream. For those of you who like gourmands, it's amazing. It really is. It's playful, it's youthful, but it's also sexy. If a woman were to eat this, to wear this, I'd probably eat the woman.
What?
Honest to God, you guys, like, I'm not even, obviously there's a lot more to it than that, but I am the Cookie Monster. Just don't spray it on your cookie, ladies, because that can have some issues. It'll burn for sure too. So actually, rating for this one, honestly, for what it's doing, it's actually achieving a bubblegum scent. There are a lot of different factors that you can factor into a rating, but for achieving the Cookies and Cream, it's phenomenal. I want to give it a 10, but overall, as a fragrance for me personally, I'd give it like a 7, just because it's nostalgic, it's fun, but the fact that it's doing cookies, it's a 10 at what it's doing. So I have to emphasize, this is crazy for $16. If you guys know that Choco Musk, that Middle Eastern fragrance that sells for like $4 and just smells like chocolate, this one smells better quality than that. It is more expensive, obviously, but it quite literally smells like cookies. If you like cookies, get your hands on it. It's 16 bucks. So for the collection, the fact that it calls itself Cookies and Cream, it can absolutely take that stamp, because I was gonna be really harsh. I was honestly planning on being really harsh, because if you put on your box Cookies and Cream and you don't smell like Cookies and Cream, we got a problem, but this one actually does. Bubblegum is the next one, and this one does smell also like bubblegum, except for the opening. It has that very similar to the actual bubblegum synthetic sugar right in the beginning, but oh my God, as soon as that's done, it literally smells like, I'm gonna put it on screen, those rolls of bubblegum tape. I swear to God, it smells like that. Synthetic sugary, of course, but extremely impressive for the fact that it's a natural recreation or an actual recreation. Wow. Definitely has that synthetic, like some kind of citrus that's artificially sweetened, just like the gum itself, but it smells just like it. It transports me every single time to actually being or wearing those gums. It just reminds me of days of like Chuck E. Cheese, man. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese. You guys remember Chuck E. Cheese? Man, they're not doing so hot, I don't think. This one's for the homie at Chuck E. Cheese. I think they're still open, actually. Wow. Okay, definitely artificial. So for the name itself, it's achieving it, and I can actually taste it right now. It tastes like it too. Please don't taste your fragrances, but it does have that artificial sweetener in the beginning. For the first like 20 seconds, it gets a lot better, and recreation is phenomenal. I give it a 9 for the recreation. Overall as a scent, this is for kids or for girls or for women who want to kind of smell like bubblegum, honestly. It's still really good. I give it like, it's a 7, just because like it's hard to hate this, but it's really good, just it's hard to also want to wear it as a fragrance. It is what it is. I like it, I appreciate it. For $16.50, I would definitely buy that for like my kid or like my girl if she's, you know, wanting to play dress up. I feel like those two should be separated. So ladies, if you're older, okay, you get it, you get it. Moving on to the next one. This is called Double Espresso by French Avenue. Long story short, what this smells like is just straight up espresso. Did you guess that or no? Honest to God, you guys, it literally smells like double espresso. It smells like when I was going to Dubai in those little coffee shops, they give you those quick shots. That's it. Simple as that. Earthy, dark, a little bit woody as well as it starts to dry down. Very bold and very realistic recreation. It's a dark roast coffee, so don't expect anything light blonde or nuanced and like light woods, etc. It does go pretty dark and rich. And for that reason, it's unisex. I wouldn't necessarily call this just straight up masculine or feminine. It's potentially leaning towards the masculine side of things because of the fact that dark espresso will have more earthy nuances, etc. because of that roast, and that's quite literally what it is. So the coffee beans in itself is going to have an earthy aroma, and typically speaking, a light brew or a light roast will be something that they take the coffee beans and they don't roast it as long and they allow it to stay, you know, relatively light, which also comes with lighter, earthier nuances, and the aroma is less rich and less bold. With this one, it's all the way roasted, man. So very rich, very bold. If you like a dark ass coffee, that's a good one. I also unboxed Affogato, which I did not include in this video, but it'll be coming very soon. I'm telling you right now, Affogato is amazing. It's a 10. Currently my favorite coffee fragrance that in my collection as of right now, that's affordable. It's not really gonna be for everybody. I think that this will be fantastic as a layering, and for that reason, I think a fair score of 7.75 for double espresso sounds about right. So 7.75, it does smell really good. I personally love the caramel macchiato as well from the collection, but hands down, my current 9.8 to a 10 is Affogato, and that'll be coming soon into another video. Another one that I unboxed was from Khadlej, and this is called Musk Blend, and this is part of their master perfumer collection. So they're all really starting to get up there, you guys. They're increasing their performance, their presentations, their quality of oil. And if you're looking for the newest fragrances, Middle Eastern fragrances, niche designer, and all that good stuff, you found the right channels. So what this one smells like is a classical take on musk. It quite literally smells like a recreation and reimagination of actual musk. So it's clean, but it also has this animalic hinge to it. That's quite different than any other style of animalic ambers or animalic oud. So the best way I could describe this one is first off, it's a relatively simple and classic style fragrance of just a musk blend. It doesn't necessarily go in towards the white clean musk, and it kind of recreates a more authentic musk, like deer musk. And what that kind of smells like is this fuzzy, slightly animalic, and potentially even pissy, but doesn't go that direction. With this one, musky style of fragrance that's a bit fuzzy, aromatic, and even a bit woody. So with that being said, that's the only and the best way I could describe it. It's almost one of those things where it's like you kind of have to smell it to understand. And musk just basically smells like imagine you left your clothes in your drawer for about a week or two. That's kind of the vibe that I get with this. With that being said, I do appreciate this for what it's doing and a part of the musk collection, but it's not something that I would personally wear, recommend, or even really enjoy rocking myself. So for me personally, it's not like I dislike this because I am familiar with this style DNA. I just personally would never wear something like this. In the East, there's probably potentially an audience for this, but for me, it's like a 4.7. I don't see myself ever wearing this, and I don't see myself really recommending it to anybody in the East or anybody who has a similar taste like me. Now, if you're somebody who's into classic fragrances and understands and appreciates musk fragrances, then that one actually smells pretty damn high quality for what it's doing. So that rating is not to take away merit or credit from the fragrance because it's good at what it's doing. It just means that I just don't like this recreation of musk. 4.7, and that's pretty much it. It's more of a dislike than even a neutrality. So that's how I feel about the Musk Cure by Khadlej. Next one up is called Cafe Latte, and this is a phenomenal coffee and ice cream fragrance. It projects, it smells extremely strong, and it also has like this amaretto vibe. I will say that this smells like a very creamy and woodsy style of dark coffee, but it focuses more so on the vanilla. For those of you who have a sweet tooth and really like those syrupy vanilla fragrances like Bianco Latte, etc., imagine injecting that with coffee. You end up with something like this. It absolutely reminds me of Amor Cafe by Mancera, but it does have much more of a gourmand take and less focus on some of those woody and earthy nuances like you'll find in Amor Cafe. Amor Cafe does come with a little bit of this raunchy aspect to it. It's potentially coming from that coffee, which can give undertones of some earth or woods or even patchouli. With this one, you don't really get too much of that. And what you get is definitely a dark roast coffee, but more so in this vanilla cream, which is sexy in my opinion. And especially on women, it'll smell amazing. But I've rocked this myself and it smells really good. I will, however, say that it's not that close to Amor Cafe, but even then on its own, it's a vanilla vanilla ice cream with coffee. It smells amazing. It smells amazing and it performs. I rocked this one and it didn't go anywhere the entire freaking day. For the price, you cannot complain, and it has to be one of the better cheapies in my coffee collection as well. So my coffee collection for cheapies, just for scale, I have about 14 of them as of right now. And out of the 14, there's only 4 that I really enjoy. And as of right now, it's definitely gonna be double espresso, caramel macchiato. There is qahwa, which is just qahwa by French Avenue, and that one is a lot more of this cardamom Turkish coffee, which is very sexy. And then affogato, and now cafe latte. So actually 5 out of 14. These are the only 5 that I personally would pay attention to. Cafe latte, perfectly unisex, definitely leaning more towards the gourmand territory than even a more cafe in itself. And I actually like that, and I like the subtle differences. The overall score for this one, I give it like an 8.8 to an 8.9. It smells fantastic, especially for the price point. But if you're one who likes a bit more woody, earthy, something a little bit more rugged in your fragrances, then that's where this one kind of goes against that and goes into the gourmand. I feel like if it had just a touch more rugged, it would be like a 9 to a 9.5. Otherwise, still absolutely worth the grab and the pickup. Check the links down in the description for the lowest prices as always. A couple days ago, I unboxed Le Male Elixir, which all of these were blind buys. This one I picked up from the warehouse itself when I was there, and I did pay for them, by the way, even at the warehouse, which is kind of questionable. Actually, why did I pay for it being at the warehouse? But I did, swear to God. And just like this one, it's called Le Male Elixir. Actually, no, it's called Urban Man Elixir by Fragrance World. I haven't seen this anywhere, and the Clone War for Le Male Elixir is coming up. And actually, once I saw this, I was gonna record the Le Male Elixir Clone War. I said, nope, gotta give it a fair run. And so I picked this up. It was my scent of the day yesterday. And I have to admit, look, you guys know I created a fragrance, and there's gonna be, oh my God, Fragrance World. Like, get over it, bro. Your fingers are gonna start hurting if you keep leaving those comments, stuff like that. The reality is the reality. I've been to factories where I've seen how they even produce their fragrances and the big differences, and you can find out all of that, scoops on ins and whats, in my new series of the AROMATIX Show podcast. We'll be talking about all of that, the insides, manufacturing, so you can get a better understanding as to a lot of these companies and how they are manufactured and all of that good stuff, in my experience with all of the factories. So with French Avenue and Fragrance World, you could expect to get better quality because of the way that they produce their fragrances, and that's why I picked going with French Avenue. But even with that being said, it doesn't matter if you're French Avenue, Fragrance World, Lattafa, Khadled, Dolce & Gabbana, Versace. The truth is the truth, and I'll always share the truth. That's it. I've smelled over 3,500 fragrances that are just in my collection, not only to mention the ones that I don't have in my collection. So my nose has been through, it's got a pretty high body count. It's got a pretty damn high body count. So I'm pretty good at picking out nuances. Also, the fact that I'm pretty OCD and ADHD allows me to really hyper focus. This is my life, okay? And my life is always on it, and I will always keep it real with you guys, regardless of what company. So Urban Man Elixir, back to this one. It's available on Fragrance Buy, and you can find this right now for pretty cheap. This one opens up probably one of the best ones. Absolutely opens up one of the best ones, and definitely one of the closest ones. However, I can't smell it after 2.5 to like 3.5 hours. I would give it a maximum longevity of about 4 hours. So at that point, honestly, for me personally, I don't care how good it smells. 3 to 4 hours, I can't do it. So sure, it could be maceration or maturation, but it just didn't do it for me. So I would hope that they would re-release this in a little bit of a higher concentration, or that it gets stronger with maturation. But regardless of the facts, even if it is one of the closest ones, as of right now, it just doesn't give me the performance. So could there potentially be a better clone for the Le Male Elixir? Potentially, yeah. I've been posting up on my shorts on wearing these fragrances, and I've got about one more to do, Lattafa's The Kingdom, where I'm actually going to be testing it. So as of right now, the performance is where it kills it. I wouldn't give it more than a 7. It smells amazing, but and that's the only reason why I give it a 7. It could have been higher than that, but because of the performance, it definitely takes a shot. It's gonna be stacked up against Tribal Gold Elixir, I believe it is, and it's also gonna be stacked up against today Han Elixir, and then Lattafa's The Kingdom. These are all accessible, easy to get, and worldwide available. The winner will be the closest, but also performance will be factored in. So I will say that this one definitely stepped up the notch a little bit and got one of the closest, and even then, with no surprise, you know, the original is always gonna be the original. And with Le Male Elixir, it's one of the cases where if you want the OG, you know, it's probably a good thing to consider trying to grab the OG, or grabbing one of these until you can afford it is not bad either. There's an audience and a market for everyone, right? I have the original, I have these, and I will continue to do this series always. So stay tuned for that Clone War coming very freaking soon. I actually have the Kingdom coming in. Although I already had it, I bought it overnight ship just so I can push that one out and get it out for you guys very soon. Moving on to the final one. This is called the Arsh, also by French Avenue, and it basically means throne. This smells like a lemon citrus fresh fragrance with a foamy undertone to it. So it kind of smells like a foamy lemon meringue pie vibes, but fresh in every way. It's got vibes of Guerlain Platine Privé, but it also reminds me of a similar vein to Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. And they both share quite a few similar notes, like some of that vetiver, the musk, and the lemon, which really recreates that overall vibe of that frothy lemon. This one is a 10, and I think every man should have Arsh in their collection. It just smells classic, it's compliment worthy galore, and that's pretty much it. Best bang for for buck, value, and all of that good stuff. And this sums up today's video. My name is Neve. Thank you for tuning back into AROMATIX, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.